we have found wonderful ways that anybody can have afterlife communications with their loved ones now living in the afterlife.
I'm joined by Dr. Craig Hogan, president of the Afterlife Research and Education Institute and one of the most respected voices in the field of consciousness survival. He's not just a researcher, he's an educator, a speaker, and the author of multiple books. He spent decades compiling and synthesizing data from near-death experiences, verified mediumship, electronic communication with the dead, remote viewing, and quantum physics to show that consciousness continues. Dr. Hogan, thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor.
It's a delight. I look forward to it today. We have lots of things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started.
Absolutely. For a long time, topics like consciousness after death, the soul's journey, these were written off as superstition or pseudoscience. But the wild thing is it's not new. The ancients were talking about this for thousands of years. It seems like we're just starting to catch up with the science side of it. So I've got to ask, when you tell people what you do, what kind of reactions do you get?
Well, I get reactions from people that range from those who are strong Christians or strong Jewish backgrounds, and they are telling me that there are sacred scriptures, and that has all the answers, and we can't look anywhere else other than sacred scriptures. So then they dismiss it. Or there are people who are hard-nosed scientists, and they tell us that there's nothing going on in the brain or in the mind, and so as a result of that, when the brain dies, the mind dies, and so there's no sense in even talking about consciousness or the afterlife. And then there are people who are actively seeking. They're actually looking. They have a sense that there's something there. They know that when grandma leaves the earth, that she isn't really gone, and they talk to her and they have conversations with her, but they don't really understand what it is that they're talking about. What goes on in the afterlife? Are we assured that people are going to get there? And so that group of people who are actively looking now are the ones that we're most interested in talking to and helping them to understand what we know to be true. We have a wonderful message about the life after this life, and we just have to let people know what it is that we know to be true. So those are the groups that we run into, but we're just anxious to talk to those people who are open-minded and want to learn more.
I love that. How did you get into this work? Take me back to the beginning. No one just falls into this work. So what pulled you toward this path?
No, didn't fall into it. I was drawn into it. I actually had gone through half a century of my life. So I was 52 years old. And I started meeting psychics. It seemed like every person I met was a psychic of some shape or form. And it turns out that all of these people then were able to do something that I didn't understand. They were able to tell things about people's lives, and they didn't understand how they could do that. And so I engaged them and I talked to them and I tried to understand. And so then I began to study the psychic activity and psychic phenomena. And as I did so, I encountered more and more of these things that can't be explained other than the fact that there is something more to reality than this earth, than just what we sense to be true. And so I delved into it more, and I found out that, well, if the mind is outside of the body and we can do psychic things outside of the body, that means that when the body dies, the mind keeps on going. So then I delved into the afterlife and what would happen to the mind after the body had died. And as I did that, I discovered that people are living in the afterlife. They're communicating clearly to us, and they just want us to understand that. They just want us to know that that's true. And so what we're doing now is we're trying to find new ways of helping people to communicate with people living in the afterlife. And we're very successful. We have found wonderful ways that anybody can have afterlife communications with their loved ones now living in the afterlife. And so that's the path that I've gone to, and now I devoted my entire life to it. I am doing research right now. I'm involved with other people who are doing this research, and we're discovering methods of the afterlife communication that are valid and up to 98% successful. And we are finding out more about the life after this life. We have roadmaps of it. We know what life is like there. And so it's exciting because of what we have. Now we're trying to bring that to humanity. People just have to understand it is not a mystery. It's something that we know to be true, just as surely as we know there is a history of the United States or some other phenomenon that we're not directly involved with, but we know it's true. The same is true of the afterlife and afterlife communication. So that's our mission now, is to help people to understand what we know to be true.